Hello, everyone. My name is Zach Rizzo, and I'll be presenting an overview of my intelligence product created for IST 667. The topic of my product is forecasting the military power of the Collective Security Treaty Organization, also known as the CSTO. So, the customer for this intelligence product, or the organization that requested it, is the North Atlantic Treaty Organizations, or NATO, Defense Policy and Capabilities Directorate. The Defense Policy and Capabilities Directorate, the DPCD, is one of two directorates that form the Division of Defense Policy and Planning. The mission of the DPCD is to support the development of the alliance's defense policy, strategy, and capabilities of member states. So here we can see that its mission essential functions, as well as the matching intelligence needs of each function. And overall, the DPCD's functions can be described as generating strategy and policy from NATO in order to ensure the collective security of all members. And therefore, to do this, the DPCD intelligence needs require to have an awareness of all threats as well as threats capabilities. So the producer for this intelligence product is the Defense Intelligence Agency, or the DIA, and the DIA serves everyone from the president to the soldier in combat through a combination of analysis, intelligence gathering, and cutting edge science and technology. Additionally, the DIA provides United States allies with intelligence on foreign militaries and their operating environments. And the mission of the DIA is to prevent or decisively win wars. So the question that was tasked to the DIA by the DPCD asked, how will the 2022 Russo-Ukrainian war affect the military strength of the CSTO? So for anyone that's unaware, the CSTO is a military alliance of Armenia, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Russia, and Tajikistan. Similar to NATO, the CSTO provides collective security guarantees to its member states. This power is guaranteed under Article 4 of the CSTO Charter, which states, in the case of aggression, that is, an armed attack threatening safety, stability, territorial integrity, and sovereignty against any member state, all other member states, at request of this member state, shall immediately provide the latter with the necessary aid, including military. So the reasoning for why the DPCD would want to receive an intelligence product pertaining to this question is to fill its mission essential function of ensuring the security guarantees of all NATO member states. And the scope of this product, the temporal scope, is focused between the years 2025 and 2026. The geographic scope is focused within members of the CSTO, so again, that's Russia, Armenia, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Tajikistan. And the substantive scope focuses on military size, quality, modernization, along with robustness of the defense industries. So, in order to provide an analysis of how will the 2022 Russo-Ukrainian war affect the military strength of the CSTO, a total of 5 information gaps were identified. The first of which asks for information on current or planned equipment modernization programs, that is, the upgrading of current equipment stocks, and projected number of affected or modernized units. So the scope for this information gap focused on armored vehicles, specifically armored personnel carriers, or APCs, infantry fighting vehicles, or IFVs, and maybe battle tanks, or MBTs, and as well as aircraft, including fighters, specifically multi-role attack and interceptors, as well as bombers, specifically strategic. So as you can see to the right of the substantive scope is a sample of information I collected. The sample here is a statement from the Russian news agency TASS in 2019, which states that Russia plans on upgrading at least 10 T-72 main battle tanks to the T-72B3 variant. The main features of this modernization program provide the upgraded T-72s with a new IR searchlight, or infrared searchlight, a more modern gunner sight system, as well as a wind sensor. Additionally, the T-72B3 variant received Contact 5 explosive reactive armor, or ERA, for additional defense against high explosive anti-tank or heat rounds, and reportedly some protection on armor-piercing, fin-stabilized, discarding sabot rounds or APFSD rounds. The next information gap identified pertained to Russian equipment procurement from CSTO member stockpiles. So the substantive scope for this information gap focused on small arms, anti-tank guided missiles or ATGMs, artillery munitions, armored vehicles, unmanned aerial systems, manned portable air defense system or MANPADS, and radar systems. So the collection sample I provided here is a picture of Ukrainian forces in possession of a captured T-62 tank, with this specific variant of the T-62 being from the 1967 model, meaning that it's well over 50 years old. So if Russia was able to, it would likely source more modern equipment from CSTO partners rather than use equipment over 50 years old. And this suggests that Russia is unable to draw down equipment from CSTO member stockpiles. So the next information gap, or information gap 3, focused on trends in personnel size of CSTO members' armed forces. The substantive scope of this question focused on recruitment numbers year over year. So information gap number 3 focus on trends in personnel size of CSTO members' armed forces. So the substantive scope of this information gap focused on recruitment numbers year over year, total force size of air, naval, and ground forces, as well as planned force expansions of air, naval, and ground forces. And the collection sample I have here is a statement from Vladimir Putin in 2022, which showcases that the armed forces of the Russian Federation, by his decree, are to increase by 695,000 persons to the total size of 1.5 million personnel. So obviously this shows a increase from previous years on the total size of the Russian armed forces. Information gap number 4 focus on the collection of information regarding the output of CSTO defense manufacturers. So the substantive scope of this information gap was the ability to fulfill purchase orders and manufacturing projections pertaining to artillery munitions, armored vehicles and their related munitions, small arms, and again the related munitions, as well as fighter aircraft. So the sample on the right is from a post from a pro-Russian account on Telegram, and it's clearly hard to make out exactly what it is, but this is an image showing a container housing ammunition for the Russian armed forces that are fighting in Ukraine. And like I said, it's very hard to make out due to the rust, but it looks like it may have been 20 millimeter ammunition for a BMP, which is a Soviet era infantry fighting vehicle. As you can see, this ammunition is unusable, which suggests that if Russia is forced to source ammunition this old or this poor, then it is having an incredibly hard time manufacturing new munitions to give to its troops. So the final information gap for this product focused on troop quality, and this substantive scope for this information gap was the length of basic training for each CSTO member force, the average length of time a soldier spent in service, the ratio of an officer to enlisted soldiers, and the number of international exercises a CSTO member state participates in. And the sample I have provided here was sourced from the Russian Ministry of Defense and gives an overview of the length and exercises carried out in the Russian Armed Forces basic training. So as you can see, at the time of this publication, which was 2019, Russian Armed Forces basic training consisted of it was a total of 4 weeks long, which consisted of 10 hours of simulations, up to 36 hours of physical training, up to 32 hours of tactical training, up to 50 hours of special training, and then shooting an AK-74 a total of 9 times, or 200 rounds, and then practicing throwing grenades 7 times. This concludes the presentation of the outline of my IST 667 intelligence product. Thank you for watching, and the next slides will show my works cited for this presentation. Thank you.